Hello, everybody, and welcome to the March 15th Trips and Traps. Andy Serling, joined by Eric Donovan.
4 races to bring you in this week's episode, and some nice horses, some nice 3-year-olds, both male and female. And we'll start off with one of those 3-year-old races. It's an allowance, going 1 mile and 70 yards on the inner track. A couple of stretch outs in here, including the 1 PANTHRO, the 7 inflation target. We'll also look at the 9 217.
Yeah, overall, it's kind of, PANTHRO goes to the lead. There's no trip whatsoever. Just want to talk about him. In fact, none of these have major trips. They're overall good trips. There is one of the favorites, inflation target, and there's the 9 217 who runs second. I think in all ways, these horses all kind of disappointed.
They did, and I think you might be able to make some kind of excuse for PANTHRO and inflation target here because they have been sprinters up to this point here. And inflation target's not handling the turn all that well there, and a little bit of traffic, a little bit ranked, trying to settle in behind horses with the slower pace. And here he's going to try to go in between horses and get a little bit of a clear run in here. I think he was the one that might have been affected the most by dynamics of this race and stretching out.
Yeah, perhaps, but he does get over the rail in a comfortable spot and ultimately has absolutely no answer at the end. Now, I didn't love what happened to him early, but it's horse racing. If he was really going to run well and run as well as he did when he broke his maiden last time, he wouldn't have been badly affected by that. 217 does get caught 3 wide in the first turn. He's back in the pack and last, sort of. He'll end up angling over the rail and getting a very good ride from Ramon Dominguez. I think he hangs like a chandelier. PANTHRO, there's a lot of questions with him going forward as he was claimed by Rick Dutrow out of this race.
Well, we talked about it on Talking Horses about PANTHRO. Kind of odd that a New York bred that had won impressively, maiden special weight non-winners won, was being dangled for $75,000. This was an optional claimer, and PANTHRO was in for the $75,000. Stanley Huff, a pretty sharp trainer, put him in there. Rick Dutrow claimed PANTHRO, and we'll see what happens. What Rick decides to do with him, if he turns him back or tries to keep him going long. But he's going to be a horse that for certain is going to take a lot of money next time out just because of the claim.
Yeah, I'll be interested to see when he shows up. As you see, 217 is making a very sweet move, and considering it was a contentious pace, one would have thought from here that he'd be tough to beat. And Ramon cuts the corner and goes from the inside. These are the kind of horses that win. Shouldn't get lost that Romancing the Gold did the hard work up front, attacking PANTHRO, and he ends up winning. There's absolutely no finish whatsoever from inflation target that runs third, and I think you and I talked about it. Both he and PANTHRO are horses that will benefit in all likelihood from turning back. I don't know if either one of them wants to go long.
No, I don't think either one of them does. I think you're right about that. What about 217, who's kind of done this 2 races in a row? I mean, lost to Rakatora last time out at 4-5, and this loss here as the 2-1 second choice. Kind of looks like a horse to me that these races are only going to get a little bit tougher. These non-winners of 1 optional claimers, and they're going to have to figure out what to do with them.
Yeah, the winner of this race is okay, but I don't disagree. It's not going to get easier. I mean, look, he can get checks in them, and it's not as though he'll do poorly, but I'd take a shot in the turf with him again. He debuted on the turf. He's got plenty of turf breeding. He didn't run well. He improved a lot in the dirt, but I'd try him on the turf at least one more time, as turf season will be starting soon, to see if perhaps he's just an improved horse, because he's bred for it to be his preferred surface. And even though inflation target is a full to Rattlesnake Bridge, I just think he's a horse that may not want to go this far ultimately. PANTHRO, he's an issue question, because dropping him like Stan Huff did, I think there's probably issues with this horse, and I think it'll be interesting to see how quickly Rick Dutrow brings him back, because with Rick, he can wait a long time and wait as long as he has to. I think he's a very talented horse, and it'll be interesting to see where Rick goes with him.
No, that's very true. It's a good point, because Rick has no problem sitting on a horse like this for 6 months to get him the way he wants him and put him in the right spot.
And he's a smart guy, and he knows the dynamics of this horse being entered, so he realized he was getting a horse that could be a project for him.
Yeah, we'll take a look at some New York bred maiden claiming 3-year-olds going 1 mile and 70 yards in our second race of the segment here. This is the race 6 from March 9th.
The start's bad, and we'll show the head on, because, of course, outside of the 7 stage debut stumbles. The 2 Alley's winner, he just gets sort of shut off going to the start, and we're going to highlight him again soon. And keep your eye towards the inside as we go around the first turn on the pink horse, Alley's winner, because he's going to get in trouble again and lose position. He's down here on the inside. Outside of him is the stage horse, and Suspicious You is a horse in here in the black. We'll talk about him later.
Yeah, right now, Alley's winner is really the one to keep your eyes on, because going into the turn is going to be a little bit tight in here. Going to bump around with the horse to the outside there, and kind of have to steady a little bit and check and lose a couple lengths in that spot there. So after a troubled start and a troubled run through the first turn, this horse is really up against it. Now he's switched to the outside, and we'll see what he does.
They've both lost significant position. Suspicious You is in good position here. Keep that in mind, because he'll lose that position. But the horses we're talking about, stage debut and Alley's winner, who were the first and third choices in this race, both of them had trouble early that put them in tough position.
And you'll see Ali's winner here now moving out into about the 4-path on the outside there, up into 4th position now, or 5th position right now, so making not a rush to the lead, but a little bit of a premature move to the front here, I think.
Yeah, as opposed to Ramon, who's riding stage debut, who realizes, you know, I'm just going to have to sit back here and hope I have a run in me. Ultimately, he doesn't have that run. I think the start affected any real chance he had. I don't know that he's that good. Steve Aspen's had him now for 2 starts, but he certainly was hurt early as he moves 3 wide. Ali's winners moved to lead, and you look at Suspicious You, was completely lost all that position, was sitting there second, and now is all the way in the back of the pack. Ali's winners moved up prematurely, has no answer. Stage debut. I guess I'm trying to give stage debut a pass, but I'm not dying to bet this horse at a short price. I think I still maintain he was much the horse to beat, though, had he not had that bad start.
He's the horse to beat. I'm just not sure how good he is. Take a look at Suspicious You down toward the back on the inside there, just kind of getting trapped in a little bit here. And this is a horse that ran okay first time on the turf. Bill Badgett tried to run him on the dirt now 3 times over the winter. Maybe he'll be eyeing a switch back to the turf in this race. He does pass those couple of horses toward the back of the pack late. Maybe this race will serve as some kind of a momentum builder for him.
Well, you want to take a shot with him on the turf, that's fine. You know, I'm not totally familiar with his PPs. I'm a little tired of him on the dirt, to be honest. On the other hand, he does have some trouble and never really gets the kind of ride that gives him a real chance in here, because he loses that position. We'll go to the start.
Here's a look at the start. The 2, Ali's winner, the 7, stage debut. Keep your eyes on both of them. 1 eye on each would be good there. Looks like we can have a little smiley face going on there, but the stage debut, a bad stumble there, and Ali's winner gets squeezed.
Yeah, and both these horses have trouble. Obviously, stage debuts was much worse, but both these horses compromise. And the starts are so important in these races. We go through it over and over again, because they're how horses establish their early position. And you can have a horse that's in a very good tactical position, close to the lead or well placed, and you can have a horse that's in a terrible position, and they don't really exert any more energy to get there, and that's going to be a factor in the final race we show today.
All right, well, before we get to the final race, we'll show some pretty nice 3-year-old fillies in action in the Cicada earlier on last week, the March 10th Cicada. This race number 4. Of course, Agave Kiss looking to remain undefeated in the spot, and did. Corderosa had the unenviable task of chasing a loose on the lead, Agave Kiss.
Yeah, Agave Kiss is clearly the more brilliant of these 2 horses, and she clears the lead, and it's just over, and she just sort of blitzes these horses on the turn. But you don't want to get lost in there that Corderosa has been running well time after time, and she hasn't won a race since her maiden. But I think you could argue that each race she's run has been better than the one before it, despite not winning with 2 straight seconds. Having to chase a loose in the lead Agave Kiss, who's getting everything her own way while you're chasing 3 wide, is an unenviable task, and she's still running at her in the stretch.
Yeah, toward the end, I mean, Corderosa makes up some good ground in here, and you'd have to wonder if someone was out there to run with Agave Kiss, and was dueling with Agave Kiss. What if Corderosa maybe even had a chance to win this race here? Because I thought she finishes up excellently here. Agave Kiss, everything her own way. Obviously, she's a super talented filly, Agave Kiss, but I was reading some quotes from Rudy Rodriguez saying they might try to stretch her out her next start to a mile. Well, a mile might bring them all together here, and Corderosa might be able to turn the tables at a mile.
Well, she's also going to probably face a million reasons why in that race. You wonder about races like the Prioress at Saratoga, as well as the Test. It's 6 furlongs and 7 furlongs, and they're both grade 1s. I think with Corderosa, in those races, Agave Kiss is very fast and shockingly professional for this young horse, and she's been that way from the start. But you do wonder, eventually in those tough races, she is going to face horses that are fast early. Now, maybe she can rate behind them, maybe she can outrun them and still be good enough to beat the other horses. I don't discount that possibility. But the dynamics may at some point favor Corderosa, and in that case, Corderosa ran well enough in this race and well enough in all her races to say she deserves a chance. I don't think that Corderosa is a lesser, and I know that you don't disagree.
No, I agree with you 100%. I mean, you even go back to the last race for Corderosa, who had the inside post in the Dearly Precious, and just because of that inside post was kind of forced to be ridden along there, and vied the whole way and came up just the next short in there. But this is a versatile enough filly where she doesn't have to be so far back, and she was in the right kind of spot in most races where there's a competitive pace, and just so happens with this 5-horse field that Agave Kiss was just clearly faster than everyone else.
She is, but these horses sometimes they get their days, and Corderosa is going to have her day, if not days.
All right, we'll do one more race here on Trips and Traps. We'll go on to the 10th race from Saturday. We're going to look at Pave the Way, a New York-bred maiden claimer going 6 furlongs.
A Bruce Levine horse that you can see the break, and breaking from the inside. I know it's kind of an angle, but this horse clearly breaks a length or so slow. And you watch as the field settles. As the field settles, you've already got a 3-length gap there. And Pave the Way, I think that Rod Ortiz did the right thing in here, gunning up the inside. Otherwise, he's just going to get buried in there and packaged up as they slow the pace down, but ultimately the start killed any chance this horse had.
Yeah, I mean, paved the way with the speed that he showed down the backstretch. She showed down the backstretch. You would imagine that she could have been in this spot quite easily without having to do any work, and just burned up a lot of speed down the backstretch trying to get back in position here. Then is going to get hooked up in a little bit of a duel here, so things are not going all that great for Pave the Way as they move for the 3/8 pole here. And Pave the Way will fade a little bit in here, finish 6th, and be beaten about 5 1/4. But considering the start, the rush down the backstretch, this was a decent enough effort first time in for the maiden claiming tag, where she should be dangerous and probably a short price next time.
Well, I wonder how short she'll be, because she was 5-2 in here. I don't know if the face value she'll be much shorter next time. That's the thing. And if they ran this race again, and you knew it was going to be a totally fairly run race, I wouldn't mind taking a shot with her again, even if I got the same 5-2, because she's dirtied up. She may not be that good, but she's dirtied up a little bit at least, I hope.
Yeah, no, I think she is. But, Bruce Levine depends on the winning streak he gets on. People can pay a lot of attention to anything sent out from his part. Here's a look at the start. Going to break a little bit slowly, kind of get forced over a little bit by the 2, and you do have that temporary rail situation going 6 furlongs on the inner. Pave the Way is actually going to disappear from the shot for a moment there, but come back on, and there's Pave the Way. So you can obviously get some kind of understanding what kind of trouble she went through, in the gap, in the gap where the turn meets the backstretch.
And when you watch these head-ons, the starts, and we showed a couple of them, it shows the value of watching head-ons. When we show the head-on to start shortly after the race is run, but obviously the head-ons are available as well after the races are run. And you see a lot of why do things happen at the start, or why do things happen during races, and they can become much clearer in the head-ons. We love to hear your thoughts. We can always use the help. Trips and traps at NYRAinc.com.
Thanks for watching.